I can't recall the last time we got 100 out of 100 on this. I believe we've only done it once. Today we do it twice. Today's number 2. Welcome in, everyone. It is a beautiful Monday. Not really. It's fucking hot outside. But Monday, and here we go. Here we go. Preseason is here. Preseason is tipped off on Friday afternoon. Every fan base in the NBA, from what I can gather on Twitter, thinks they're winning the NBA championship. I've seen Nuggets fans that say it's over because Julian Strawther did a couple things. I've seen Bucks fans who think we shouldn't even play the season. I've seen Celtics fans obviously think Peyton Pritchard's the best player in the league. Being mad at the only guy trying to push us to a type 1 civilization and stop Twitter from being a subsidiary of the FBI is crazy. Man, I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. I'm going to be honest with you. Is this in regard to Elon Musk? Elon Musk is a weirdo, man. Congrats on being the next Shams after Shams is now the next Woj. Big promotion. Thank you. Thank you. Shams is now part of ESPN. This literally happened 10 minutes ago. I don't really get it. To be honest with you, I don't really understand it. I'm assuming he's making $10 million a year, around there probably. Millions upon millions of dollars a year. This doesn't make much sense to me, you know? We've talked about this a bunch. Where it's just like, how much value does that really provide? How much value does that really provide? You know? I'm not entirely sure. Yes, we will be live tonight on playback.tv/slightly biased to watch the Mavs game or whatever's there of the Mavs game. That is playback.tv/slightly biased. That's not a link, is it? We are officially back on playback. It's been a month since we've been live, since the playoffs. Our break is over. See you at the game chat. I think the tonight's game for the Mavs at least will be streamed online on the Mavs.com. I'll be boycotting playback until they implement a pause feature. I don't know what to tell you. Now I have to wait 35 minutes to find out who gets drafted where. I'm assuming, so just real quick, tonight's Mavs preseason opener against the Grizzlies tonight. Pretty interesting, right? Grizzlies kind of reminds me a little bit of the Timberwolves preseason opener last year, where it just kind of felt like, hey, these teams might meet each other again in the playoffs. And of course they did. No one is playing tonight for the Mavericks. Luka's out. Obviously, we already knew this. Kyrie rest. Kyrie did not play at FanJam either. Klay Thompson rest. Also didn't really play at FanJam. PJ Washington is out. Also didn't play at FanJam. Kleba out. Exum out, which we already knew. And I'm not going to lie. Williams confused me at first. I was like, Williams. Grant Williams is out. Edwards also confused me because for some reason it made me think we were playing the Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards is out. That's Kessler Edwards, obviously. So, honestly, this kind of sucks. There's not really a lot you can take away. But we're going to be live. We're going to be watching it. I will be on Locked On afterwards to discuss the hard-hitting issues that this game covers, such as what happens if 6 of the Mavericks' 10 rotation players are out. And it just kind of sucks. Like a game like you're really not going to learn a lot. Like it's going to be the fringe guys who are trying to prove that they belong in the NBA, whether that's with the Mavericks or with another team. Did you see Nick call Isaac slightly on the last lockdown? I did not, but that's pretty funny. I'm a little bit bummed that I missed out on Fan Jam yesterday, Mavs Fan Jam. I was going to go. I was fully planning on going, obviously. Why the fuck would I not go? But I had a group of friends that we were all going with. We were all going to meet up, head in. One by one, they all dropped out. What was that book? I had to read it in middle school. A murder mystery where one by one they all die. They're trying to figure out who did it, but it turns out the person who did it, spoiler alert, was like the second person to die, and he rigged all of these different contraptions to kill everyone. Was it Lord of the Flies? Then there was one. I think that's what it was called. Yeah. Then there was none, I thought it was. Is it Then there was none? Cars 3? No. Similar, but not the same. No, Lord of the Flies is they're stranded on the island or whatever. And then there was none. And then there was none. That was the book. They all drop it out, and then we got a couple hours before, and then I was by myself basically, and I was like, man, I'm not about to stand in line for 2 hours by myself. Like that's not happening. So I ended up not going. You watching Tigers Guardians or not? I'll put it on. I've been watching. So just full disclosure, I've watched a little bit of NBA preseason here and there, but I haven't been very good about it. I've been watching a lot of the MLB playoffs. They've been great. I mean, the MLB playoffs have been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. We can shit on the MLB for their scheduling of games. Like, you got a 3 o'clock playoff game today. I mean, we're in the Final Four series here. The Elite Eight, if you will. We got a 3 o'clock on Monday playoff game. Like, what the fuck are we doing? You know? Like, that's insane. But anyways, damn, it's been incredible. I mean, it's been the start of this MLB postseason has been the best postseason of any sport, maybe of this millennium, maybe of this decade, of the 2020s. Like, I'm trying to think what postseason matches up with it. Every game feels good. Every game is intense. There's real bad blood between a lot of these teams. Like, Mets, Phillies, bad blood. There's going to be an explosion there. Padres, Dodgers, bad blood. The benches will be clearing at some point in this series. At some point. It's been fucking great. I've watched every game. Maybe not fully, but I've had every game on at least. Call me crazy, but I kind of hope it's Yankees, Dodgers. Can't deny the entertainment of two of the best players ever playing in the World Series. That would be great. Right now, I'm leaning Yankees, Padres, but we'll see. The Guardians look pretty damn good. I've not watched the new episode of The Penguin, though. But I watched the Cowboys last night as well. And I will say I'm never tweeting about the Dallas Cowboys again. Ever. I don't think people fully get it. That I'm tweeting from the perspective of an apathetic Cowboys fan who just doesn't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. I don't take any of it seriously. None of it bothers me. I think it's fun to stir the pot about Dak Prescott's contract every now and then. It's fun to poke the bear a little bit. And anytime I tweet about it, people get very upset. So I'll no longer be tweeting about it because I don't care enough about it. Like, I'm not up in arms about anything the Dallas Cowboys do, win or loss, right? And some people are still. So, that'll be that. I won't be tweeting about the Cowboys anymore. The Dak and Luka comparisons were nuts. Yeah, people in my mentions were like, it's very similar to Luka in 2020. I'm like, dude, are you fucking joking? Like, come on. Maybe it's a new Cowboys way, win in shitty way. Nobody believes in us. Maybe. I mean, we're 5 weeks into the season. At no points have the Cowboys looked good. Like, at no point have the Cowboys looked like a real legitimately serious team. But there haven't been a lot of teams in the NFL that have looked like it, so. Cowboys look legit until the first snap of the season. The NFL games yesterday were great. There were some good ones. There were some good ones. But yeah, we are officially NBA season. We have every stream between now and the start of the season is planned. Today was supposed to be, I had marked down that today's stream was going to be one player to watch for each team. I decided to scrap it. I didn't really like it. Just felt a little bit boring. So today we'll talk about some stuff. We have some articles to go over. Obviously the Mavs play tonight. And then Wednesday, we're ranking the best young cores in the NBA. Under 25. Right? That should be fun. Every single team's young core. Friday, best worst case scenario for every team. Love it. That's one of my favorite ones each year. And then boom, next Monday is Eastern Conference predictions. Like, that's how fucking close we are. We're officially 15 days away from opening night. Let's talk about Tim Hardaway breaks for three. Can I just say, I just hate. I mean, I don't like. Every fan base does this, but obviously I follow a lot of Mavs fans, so I've strictly seen it from Mavs fans. I don't care to see Tim Hardaway Jr.'s preseason highlights and us shitting all over him. I don't care to see Derrick Jones Jr.'s box score photos and us shitting all over him. It's really weird, in my opinion. It just doesn't really make sense. Like, do we really have that much bad blood towards Derrick Jones Jr. or to Tim Hardaway Jr.? Like, who gives a fuck? They're gone. Like, it's just weird to me going, Tim Hardaway Jr., his whole career here, Tim Hardaway Jr. sucks. Can't wait for him to leave. He sucks. He sucks. He sucks. And then the moment he leaves and his, like, plays bad, it's like, see, we told you he sucked. It's like, okay, well, we all knew he fucking sucked. Like, I don't know what. We couldn't wait for him to get off the team. Now he's off the team, and now we're following every move he does. Like, we're some, like, scorned ex. Like, this is what we wanted. We literally wanted him gone, and he's gone. And now we're spending so much time talking about him. That's a little weird to me. A little bizarre. All right, let's lock in. We haven't gotten 100. I think we got 100% on this the first time. We did it, and we've yet to get one since. Let's go. NBA legend, Hall of Famer, recently died at 58. Rest in peace to Kimbe Mutombo. Which of these NBA cities has the smallest population? New York City, Salt Lake City, Boston, Los Angeles, Salt Lake City. Thank you. I like that they have a clear and obvious choice here. Game 6 of the 1986 World Series ended with an error by this first baseman. That would be Bill Buckner. Got that. This feels like a good run. This MLB team just played its final game in its current city. That's the A's. This feels good. Questions are easy. Who is MLB all-time hit leader? Pete Rose just passed away. Rest in peace to Pete Rose. Should be in the Hall of Fame. Who gives a fuck? Who's the only Georgetown basketball player to win MVP? Did Patrick Ewing win MVP? He didn't, obviously. In my brain, I kind of thought he might have. Trey Lance and Carson Wentz share this alma mater. Oh, shit. Which Dakota was it? I think it was South Dakota. Fuck! Oh. That is so depressing. I thought South Dakota was the good one. I don't know. Like these, I really should get 100 on these easily, man. Easily. You know, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that they had to have let go of Zach Lowe to clear up some, if you to use the basketball metaphor, to clear up some cap space for Shams, right? They had to get out of the second apron. I mean, I don't really get it. Shams definitely is a much better personality, I think, than Woj. But I don't think anyone's still going out of their way to listen to like a Shams podcast, especially not in trade season. Lowe is going to the Ringer. I think they're bringing on Zach Goldsberry. Zach Lowe, overrated Braun, Dick Ryder, Tim Legler, the GOAT. Legler's great. I mean, Zach Lowe's really good. Zach Lowe's good. I do think like everyone was acting like he passed away whenever he got fired. Lowe is too big for the Ringer, isn't he? No, I don't think so. Can the Ringer bring on people who don't have their heads shoved in advanced analytics, please? But that's like the Ringer sort of thing. They have the corner of like the nerdy Steven Ruiz types for football, Ben Solak types. Where it'll just be like spamming you with Kevin O'Connor. And yes, I think they're more gambling than they are advanced stats. Like it's more of a gambling thing, which is worse. Like by the way, 10 times fucking worse. There's nothing worse in gambling talk. I don't mind using gambling stuff as like a vehicle to talk about other things. Like for example, looking at over-unders, right? Win-loss over-unders. That I like that. Like that gives you a vehicle to talk about things, right? It's a conversation starter. It sort of segues you. Like when Bill Simmons on his podcast does the guest line things for NFL, like it's a nice little segue to talk about the games. But like Bill Simmons' Thursday night podcast where he's making up make believe parlays for the NFL weekend, horrible stuff. Just terrible. Maybe watch some EuroLeague until NBA starts. I'm a little bit sports overwhelmed right now. Like I've been keeping up with my Gunners. They've been looking good. I mean, they are fucking. Is every single Arsenal game just cardiac arrest the whole time? Just like kind of boring until we're just waiting for the big plays to happen. I've just never cared about sports betting. I've never bet on anything ever. I mean, I've bet every now and then, but it's just so boring because I don't know. Like it's the same thing about your fantasy teams. Like nobody cares. Nobody cares. Watch any handball film lately? No, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in how little handball I watched during the Olympics. Can you rank your top 10 interests in sports? Okay. Sure. Number one is we'll go professional sports leagues, okay? Number one's NBA, and it's like there's a ginormous canyon in between number one and number two, where number two just kind of cycles. Right now, I would say it's the MLB. Like just this second, it's the playoffs in the MLB, but it's only around this time of the year that's the case. Overall, I guess I would put NFL number two. But again, it's a very big gap between NBA and then the next thing I care about. I have friends who know I'm an NBA sicko, and they'd ask me if Alonzo Trier would score 8.5 or not, and I'd be like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I've had, I've been group text with friends, and they'll send me like friends that I know, are basketball fans, but don't really follow the NBA outside of like their favorite teams, and they'll send me parlays or they'll send shit in group chats that are like the most insane prop bets you've ever seen. They'll be like Mark Williams plus 1.5 blocks plus 8.5 rebounds plus 10.5 points in the first half. I'm like, dude, you need to fucking call someone. I'm being dead serious. You need to call a hotline. This is getting out of control. You need to call a hotline. Nobody's going to judge you. Just do it. Once you get into soccer, it's really easy to become a huge fan of the big teams. They're always good, so it's a bit less cyclical. Yeah, I mean, I like I've been watching the Premier League. I mean, that's probably my top 5, right? You think Wimby will be a top 10 player this season? You're just going to have to wait. 2 weeks from today will be our top 100 players list. 2 weeks from today. I've been working on it. NBA might have the most insufferable player fans. It is true. Admittedly, it's why I've become... If there was a world where I could just delete Twitter and not be on it, I would do it. I just think it's become such a part of my brand that unfortunately, as it stands currently, I can't just up and leave. Otherwise, I would. I have no desire to be on Twitter anymore. Just in terms of the app itself being shit now and just the amount of insane things that are regularly on my feed that I don't want to see. People think that there's weather machines. That's not a joke. There used to be a time when like that's something we would make fun of and say as jokes. People actually believe that to be true, that there are weather machines. You believe that? Yeah, we should censor anyone who says that there are weather machines. I don't give a fuck. Censor them. I don't care. Freedom of speech. I don't give a fuck. Censor them. I don't care about any amendments. They should be censored. Kate Bush has a whole song about him. Yeah, you leave my girl Kate alone, right? But what was I saying? Oh, the player stands just not just in the NBA, but really on like Mavs Twitter. It's just reached such a point where no matter what you say, no matter what the fuck it is, you're pissing somebody off. Like somebody's gonna be crying in your mentions, no matter what. Literally, no matter what you say. Like, it could be a positive statement, and it'll piss somebody off. Especially when you're a content creator, people create their own narratives about you. I really don't even care about that, really. How much do you pay to watch sports on TV? I don't think too much. I'm bumming a YouTube TV subscription. NBA League Pass. What is it like? What's NBA League Pass? Like 20 a month? All right, we're 30 minutes into the stream. We haven't done a single thing I wanted to do. All right, here we go. I sort of kind of want to start here. It feels very national media-y, and slightly big market. That's what they call me. I do want to talk about Bronny James. It's going to be the talk of the preseason. It is obviously such a cool thing that Bronny and LeBron are playing next to each other. They made their debut together last night. Like, it's cool. Rarely has it ever happened in sports. It's never happened in the NBA, a father and son playing together. Now, the sad reality is, and I hate to say this, but it does kind of take away from some of the moment, is Bronny's bad, man. Like, Bronny's not good at all. Like, there's just no world where he belongs in the NBA. And I two games into the season, 1 point in the preseason, 1 point, 14% from three, 2.5 turnovers. Squiggly, 22 months. It's cool, but I don't care at all. It's cool for LeBron. It's cool. It's just a cool thing, right? Just imagine that. Like, it's gonna be cool. Inevitably, they're gonna spam this so much. It's gonna be cool when Bronny throws LeBron a lob, right? But it does take away that Bronny is just fucking bad, dude. He's bad. He looks bad in preseason. He has some moments defensively, but not nearly enough to make up for how bad he is on defense or on offense. Turnover machine right there. The size. Doesn't really feel like he knows where he's supposed to be on the court. The feel isn't what I sort of hoped, and I think what a lot of us hoped it would be. What was it last night? 4 travels? Or 4 turnovers? Yeah, I mean, that's a travel. The moment LeBron hangs it up, I imagine Bronny's out the door with him. Oh, he's going to play. He's going to play in the G League, I would assume, for most of the season. They'll have him up, and they'll a legal screen right there. There goes LeBron. Talk to Bronny. Like, they'll have him up for blowouts and stuff. Like, it'll be a thing that gets talked about. But what made, like, Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. so good and cool was Ken Griffey Sr. was good, and obviously Ken Griffey Jr. was an all-time prospect. Bad foul in transition right there. Not really his fault, but you just can't take that foul. If you're going to foul, it's got to be better. It's got to be a real foul. Do you think Bronny looks over Bron's shoulder to make sure he isn't on the trade machine? There's no world in which Bronny is going to get traded. Don't think he'll have like a lot of trade value, 1, and 2, just the shitstorm that would cause. He does have some instincts defensively. Like, his hands are okay. But there's just not. He's a little nervous, missed some shots he could make. He's definitely nervous. He's yet to make a field goal. Has he made a field goal? 1 point per game. Did not score last night. 14% from the field, as I mentioned. 0% from 3. 2.5 turnovers per game. LeBron and Savannah might need to make a new build. All right, just ignore that. That's the hate. That's hate central. So just ignore that comment. And I don't know. Is this going to be a distraction? I really hate that I'm even get going here because this is such a fucking ESPN talking point. But you guys know that I have been pretty high on the Lakers this offseason. LeBron looked incredible yesterday. 19 points, 8 of 12. We know who LeBron is. Had an insane chase down block on Devin Booker. Like, he's looked really good. He looked really good yesterday. Obviously, he looked great in the Olympics. Anthony Davis was amazing yesterday. We know who those two are. They dominated their minutes together, even though, Nurkic didn't play for the Suns, but they pretty much had their guys out there. Yes, the lack of bigs behind AD is definitely a bit of a concern. They're relying pretty heavily on Christian Wood. You guys know that. That's not, we know firsthand. That's not a strategy that has been conducted to success for the entirety of his career. But I still think just the upside of LeBron and AD, and look, I saw somebody tweet this out and they got shitted on in the ratios that, the Mavericks made the NBA Finals last year. The Lakers only finished 3 games worse than them in the regular season. They did win 47 games last year. Obviously, the Mavericks, it's kind of a stupid comparison because the Mavericks, second half of the season, were one of the best teams in the league. And, their record doesn't necessarily indicate who they were all season long. But I don't know. I do like this roster. But if this is going to be a circus-related thing where, hey, man, we're gonna let Bronny go out there and do a couple things. Like, it's gonna be fun to watch Bronny out there. That's bad. Okay. This post implying that Savannah ruined Braun Jr. No, that's just hater central. Like, just ignore it. Okay. Just ignore that tweet. We'll see. I mean, only getting 13 games in a preseason game, 13 minutes in a preseason game, 4 turnovers. Yeesh. Jared Vanderbilt coming back from injury is just like getting a free agent. You say that in a joking manner, but he'll be big for them. I mean, he'll be important for them. I've seen some clips of some of the sets and stuff that JJ Redick's running, very ironically enough, because of those coaching rumors. Rob Pelinka should have watched Slightly Biased and went for Jonas. I thought that was an easy slam dunk. I thought for sure they were going to get a center in free agency to back him up. Yes, but him using Dan Hurley plays is funny because of the Dan Hurley rumors in the offseason that he was going to go to the Lakers. I'm giving JJ Redick a chance. Like, I'm not ready to write that off like a lot of people are. I think there's a world where he's a really, really smart basketball coach. We know that LeBron has a respect for him because of their podcasts together and stuff like that. What a time that we live in, by the way. 2024 fucking sucks. Like, just listen to what we're saying. Yeah, they had a podcast together. Like, they clearly like each other. Everybody has a podcast. Every player has a podcast now, which I'm in support of, by the way. But it's just a hilarious sentence. See, like, JJ Redick to me has that sicko basketball mind that I think you need to be a really, really good head coach. I don't know if he has that, just, we'll see. The Joe Mazzulla level of just, I'm so fucking locked in. All I care about is basketball. But just like what Joe Mazzulla takes from other coaches, think of like Ime Udoka as well. I'm thinking of like some of the younger coaches. This is why I'm saying this. Jamal Mosley. I think he's got that upside as a coach. He doesn't seem like super stuck in his own ways. It's my way or the highway type of thing. Kill a kid, yeah. I'm able to adjust on the fly, and we're gonna try to implement things that works for our roster. Didn't the Lakers trade Mike Conley and Nikhil Alexander-Walker for D'Lo? It was a 3-team trade. They didn't necessarily trade Mike Conley. I don't know if they could have gotten Mike Conley. Obviously, that would have been nice for them, but you think Kidd is a top 5 coach in the NBA? Well, let's see. JJ Redick, number one, obviously. No, Spoelstra. I honest to God think after Spoelstra, who cares? Like, I feel like Spoelstra is so head and shoulders better than any other coach in the league. I don't know. I'm rooting for Bronny James. You guys know, I think LeBron's the GOAT. I'm not here to argue it. I'm not here, don't fucking leave a comment. I'm not here to talk about it. I think LeBron is the GOAT. Why do I think that? He's the best player I've ever seen with my own two eyes. I wasn't alive to see Michael Jordan. Before you guys get off your unk jokes, I wasn't alive to see Michael Jordan. Actually, I wasn't cognitive. I wasn't aware of what was happening around me to fully understand what was going on with Michael Jordan, okay? So that's why I say LeBron's the GOAT. So for me, it's cool. It's cool that he's playing with his son. I just don't, from what we've seen in Summer League, from what we saw in college, in what we've seen so far in preseason, granted, it's been 2 games. Just doesn't look like an NBA player at all. I mean, we just have to call it like it is. And it's not even like, oh, he's got some flashes here and there. He needs some G League seasoning. Like, he doesn't look like an NBA guy ever. I think JJ said after their moment together, Bronny will spend the rest of this time in the G League. That's good. He plays hard. That's the best you can say. Yeah, I've said this a million times. When the best thing you can say about a player is that he's got hustle and he plays hard, that what you're saying is he sucks. Okay? What about the Guangdong Tigers? I'm not saying that about him. What you can say about Omax in comparison to Bronny is Omax is tall and very lengthy. Like, he has the body type to be an interesting forward in the NBA. But right now that is true. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with Omax, and we're hoping to see a little bit more from him. His ceiling won't reach Dennis Smith Jr. I struggle to see, like, Dennis Smith Jr., by the way, not on an NBA team right now. It's crazy, but one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Uber athlete, right? Uber athletic. Don't think Bronny's getting that. Do we know the Lakers gave Max Christie $32 million trade? They like him. He's shown some interesting stuff, but I feel like that's, by and large, you give that guy a contract so you can trade it later. This is why I wasn't live on Friday. Got a new tattoo. This one hurt like a motherfucker. 2 hours. Pain the entire time. Jared Vanderbilt's also on such a big contract. Jared Vanderbilt, D'Lo, obviously. Where do you get your tattoos? My guy Mando. His name is Mando. LA Gallery Tattoo. It's in the Colony, right across from Grandscape. They still have Gabe Vincent, yes. They still have Gabe Vincent. That Aussie breakdancer could replace Exum. I love how the Mavs don't even have bad contracts. Yeah, they don't have bad contracts, really. All of their contracts are tradable. They don't have any players that, like, you would need picks to get off of, or whatever the case may be. Bill Simmons still thinks Gabe Vincent is better than Chaos Merchant Kyrie. Did he actually say that? It's a nice tattoo. Any meaning, or you just like the design? I have a couple tattoos that have meaning to me, but realistically, this tattoo right here Saw it on Instagram, liked it, got it. That's it. And of course, anytime I do that, I have to Google search just to make sure I'm not getting some fucking gang symbol or a neo-Nazi thing tattooed on my body without knowing. I find that completely unbelievable. Bill said Gabe Vincent's a better player than Kyrie. I didn't think he said that. If memory's serving me correctly, I do think he said he'd rather have him though. Like with the context of, I would rather pay Gabe Vincent whatever he's making than Kyrie Irving. It actually though, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure he straight up said that he would rather have Gabe Vincent on the mid-level than Kyrie Irving. Now, I could be misremembering, but I do think he literally said that. Rusella. I just feel like Gabe Vincent on the mid-level makes more sense than Kyrie. Like, I'm not so sure that Kyrie Irving's not going to teach Derek Lively about weather machines. Yeah, Gabe Vincent was under the mid-level, I think. 12 million is, you can trade that easily. Bill needs Kyrie on the pod. They did do a podcast together once, I think, a long time ago when he was with the Celtics, but all right, we got some ESPN Bleacher Report. Do some more heavy lifting for us. We're almost there. From this point forward, every stream that I have will have content that I've created myself, but we just need one final push. One final push. Kyrie controls the weather. Oh. Bill says Luka as a forward. One of the weirdest Bill Simmons things is that forever he said that all NBA should be positionless. That was a take that he had for so fucking long. And it finally happened. And now he's like strictly anti he's strictly anti all NBA teams being positionless. It's pretty funny. Just now tuning in, did you watch Timmy's? You guys hear me? A cord just fell. I don't know what cord just hit the ground. Is Timmy's Pistons debut? No. And I did go on a little rant earlier about how I don't care about past Mavericks and what they're doing in the preseason, especially ones that I want it gone. Like, it's different if it's like, I'm interested in like Josh Green. Can he sort of develop more? I'm interested in seeing that. But Tim Hardaway Jr. don't really care. Derek Jones Jr. I saw Clippers fans were mad about Derek Jones Jr. It's like, I don't know what you guys are expecting. Like, Clippers fans, they've really talked themselves into the roster. I was noticing that. I was looking at their subreddit. They've really talked themselves into that roster being like sneaky and good. Yeah, I really don't see it. And it like so much so, like it's so strong. The coping is so strong in their subreddit that I try to talk myself into it. And I just can't get there at all. At all. I know this is the time of year for that. I know. Predicting 11 NBA breakout players for the 2024-2025 season. Here's Evan Mobley for the 5th straight year on this type of list. Evan Mobley will be 33 years old. And we'll be like, no, this actually might be the year. Evan Mobley's shot 2 threes a game in the preseason. Like, this really might be the Evan Mobley breakout. We'll see if Evan Mobley can finally reach a breakout point. I'm rooting for him. You guys know I have some Evan Mobley stock. And that's Franz Wagner right there. So I'm interested to see what they constitute as a breakout player. To me, both these guys are top 50 players in the league or just right around there. What constitutes breakout? Let's find out. It's that time of the year again. NBA training camps. Oh, they have different tiers. Look at that. Potential all-star leaps, almost all-stars, bigger role incoming, role players who can make greater impacts. Okay. Potential all-star leaps, Evan Mobley. Can Evan Mobley make an all-star game this upcoming season? I definitely think it's possible, right? A world where the Cavaliers are good. Their defense is really good. Evan Mobley is like in top 3 defensive player of the year consideration. And, of course, it would have to be an offensive leap for him because we already know he's a good defensive player, right? Very rare defensive skill set. This 4 that can move his feet, can sort of captain the defense, can protect the rim, all of that. But realistically for him, it's offense. Wow, these are large articles. But for him, it's, 3-point shooting. That's something that has to get there. He is a good playmaker, a good passer, but just individual scoring for him has just been up and down, up and down. We've seen flashes, but it's time to really lock in. Mobley was horrible for the Mavs. If you know, you know. Mobley won't make an all-star. He doesn't score enough. It would have to be a world where he's averaging what? What would we think Mobley would have to average to make an all-star game? He'd have to be I think the Cavs would have to be really good. He'd have to be the defensive anchor. They'd have to be a top 3, top 5 defense. 20, I think he'd have to get to 20 points a game. Last year he was at 15. His career high is 16. I think 18. 18's a little bit more reasonable. 18 and 10. 18 and 10. Maybe we're hovering around 2 threes a game right now. Last year he attempted 1.23 a game. 37%. That number has got to get to the 2s, I think. And it's possible that he makes an all-star leap. 23 years old, going into year 4. This is a guy who, 3rd in defensive player of the year 2 years ago. Isn't that crazy? Hi, Tim. Franz Wagner. So I don't know if I've said it on here before. I think I might have. I'm predicting that Franz makes an all-star game this year. That is my prediction. I think Franz is in the all-star game. I think the Magic will be good. I think Paolo is going to take a step. Another step forward for Paolo. And I think Franz Wagner is going to make an all-star game. He's got to hit some threes, obviously. There's just no possible way. Even if he's at 30% from 3, that's such a big upgrade from where he was a year ago. Such a big upgrade. He shot 28% from 3 last year and still averaged 19 a game. 28% from 3 on 4.5 attempts, by the way. 19 a game. He gets to the rim at will, a good playmaker, really good defender. If those 3-point numbers can just tick up a tiny bit, right? Can we get just to a respectable point? Yeah, last year, Franz, 22% from the corner. That's the biggest indicator that something is fucking wrong with this 3-point shot. Because 45% from the corner is rookie year, 43% year 2. 22, I just can't believe that it's this bad, shooting-wise. Yes, Franz at the All-Star game, sitting courtside watching Paolo. Yeah, the volume from the corner way down as well. Rookie year, 22% of his shots, or 22% of his threes were from the corner, 17% year 2, 12% in year 3. Do you think Franz will be better than Pascal Siakam this season? Ooh, that's a good one. I guess if I'm saying Franz is going to make the All-Star game, I guess I'm saying that he's going to have to be better than Siakam because I feel like that's the type of guy he'd have to beat out. Siakam, Mikal Bridges, those are the guys who will be in contention for that last All-Star spot, more than likely. I really like Siakam. I think Siakam's going to have a great year too. I haven't really put much thought into it other than I'm planting my flag that I think that Franz Wagner is making an All-Star game this season. It's Scotty Barnes too. Yeah, the Raptors will be such a weird team. Pacers 2 seed. I'm a Magic fan, but it's tough to see. Just let me cook a little bit here. I'm working out this theory, right? We still have a couple of weeks. I'm still in preseason mode. Let me cook up a little bit. Let me chef something up. I'm just marinating the meat currently. All right. We haven't fully started cooking yet. We're just in the marinating process. We're seasoning. Okay. We're marinating. Let it marinate. Then we can start cooking. Okay. Tier 2, not quite all-stars, but they're on the brink. Jalen Green. Jalen Green, all-star leap this year. Number one, and I know they're not saying all-star leap, but I am. What would have to happen? First and foremost, Western Conference, the guard position is so fucking loaded that there'd have to be several injuries at play here. But if you're believing in a Jalen Green breakout, you're believing in March Jalen Green once again. This is who he's kind of been throughout his career. Where we've seen flashes, obviously. I mean, the athleticism through the roof, the individual skill through the roof. It's just putting it all together every now and then has been a problem, right? For consistent stretches. But every March, this guy walks through the door. It is a completely different human being. Like, let's just look at his career splits. His career splits are hilarious, okay? October, 16 points a game, 45% true shooting. Hey, starting a little slow. Nothing wrong with that. It's October, right? Whatever. November, pretty solid numbers. 19 points a game, 57% true shooting. Starting to heat up a little bit. December comes around, 18 points a game, 52% true shooting. The efficiency numbers dip. That's all right. It's Christmas time. Our mind's in different places. We're adding some holiday weight. I mean, we've all been there, January, 18 points a game, 51% true shooting. I get it. January, seasonal depression's really fucking hitting. That's a tough month. The holidays are behind you. There's that depression, the depressing feeling, knowing that the holidays are done and now you're just looking forward to the shitty months of the year. Right? February, 17 points a game, 51% true shooting. Ugh. All-Star break. We're just looking forward to our trip to Cancun because we know we're not going to the All-Star game. We're Jalen Green. That's just true, right? So we're just looking forward to our week off. Maybe hit up Turks and Caicos or something. Then boom, March comes around, completely different, man. 24 points a game, 58% true shooting. And then April, 22 points per game, 54% true shooting. 34% from three. But this March, every year. It happens. And every year we do get bought in. But last year, he's still so young. I mean, we closed out. What is he, like 23, 24? I mean, he's still a young dude who's growing as a player. And the Rockets are supposed to be a team competing for the playoffs. Now, look, last year, you could talk about March doesn't really matter. It's when teams stop caring. That's when the Rockets rattled off that impressive win streak, and they put themselves in the play-in race. They put themselves directly in the play-in race. So just say that, just to completely write off March as it doesn't really matter, I think is not fair to Jalen Green because they were playing some meaningful basketball games over that stretch, and he was playing really well. There's just this Rockets conundrum where it's who's taking that leap forward. You can't pencil in 7 guys to take a leap. It doesn't work like that. Everybody on the roster can't take a leap forward. Is Sengun going to be that guy? Is Jalen Green going to be that guy? Is Amin Thompson going to be that guy? Is Jabari Smith Jr. going to be that guy? They're on a big winning streak until they ran into the Mavs. Yes, I mean, they did play some easier teams, but their games mattered. Like the Suns when they went crazy in the bubble. That's an interesting comparison if you want to make that comparison. Where the Suns played in some important games, it ultimately didn't matter at the end of the year because they missed out on the playoffs entirely. But it was that little stretch of games where you're like, okay, they're going to be good. Like they're locked and loaded, ready to go. I'm rooting for him. I like Jalen Green. If he puts it all together, he's a very, very, very fun player to watch. Very fun player to watch. So I am rooting for him. Jalen Johnson. Of course, Jalen Johnson was playing really well and could have won most improved player last year if he played the 65 games required. Does that game have a 65 game requirement? Only played in 56 last year. And the reason why I say he could have, I mean, we saw a scoring increase of him from 5 points a game sophomore year to 16. Now, granted, his minutes more than doubled. But his point per game average went up over 10. His rebound numbers doubled. His assist numbers doubled. I mean, of course. Listen to this comment, guys. Are you still going to be a bum ball slurper when he gets named as one of the perps at the Diddy parties? Hey, it's Monday, guys. It's Monday. Like, we're not even in full swing of the week yet. Like, if I'm getting those comments on Friday, cool, I get it. It's been a long fucking week, right? We're all kind of locked in. We're all getting ready for the weekend. Monday. Wow. We're really going for it. Could JJ be a franchise guy? No, but he could be a great number 2, number 3 guy moving forward. 22 years old, going to turn 23 in December. The reason why I say that he could have won most improved last year is Zach Lowe openly said he would have voted for him, and we know how much sway Zach Lowe has, especially in an award like most improved, where I kind of feel like guys like Zach Lowe, or I would even say like a Nekias Duncan, even though I feel like he doesn't have as big of a platform, but the real sickos, the guys are watching the dregs of the NBA, if they just kind of tell you an award winner, you're just kind of like, okay, sure. Of course, Tyrese Maxey won it last year. It should have been Kobe White. It just, to me, Kobe White, Jalen Johnson, those guys sort of embody most improved. He needs to shoot more off the dribble if he wants to take that next step. It's definitely possible. I think, I really do, assuming Jalen Johnson's healthy and Trae Young's healthy for most of the season. I know I've kind of been harsh on the Hawks, but I looked at the roster a little bit more over the weekend. I could see them being interesting. Not like good, but I think they'll be better, actually, than they were a year ago. Not saying much, but like, as it stands currently, their team, you have Trae Young as the number 1 guy. I mean, Jalen Johnson's the number 2 guy. People are saying the Hawks are going to be the worst team in the league. I can't see a world where that happens unless you're talking crazy injuries, which you could make that argument for pretty much everyone. There's just no way. I mean, their talent, they're so much more talented than the Nets and the Pistons, than the Blazers, than the Wizards. Jalen Williams. I do think there's a world where Jada makes an All-Star game this year. 100%. 100%. He's one of the favorites for most improved player. Since we're doing a breakout thing, it might be nice to pull that up. NBA award odds. It might be nice to kind of look at that. He is one of the favorites. For me, I can't... What does a breakout really look like for J-Dub? Like, last year was his breakout, right? I think a breakout for J-Dub does not happen in the regular season. I just can't imagine his numbers shooting up that crazy. Like 19 points a game last year, 4.5 assists, shot the ball really well, was really efficient. Does he get over 20 points a game? Maybe. But you have to assume, right? You have to assume that Chet's going to take a bit of a leap next year, just naturally, going from rookie year to sophomore year. There's going to be a leap expected there. For him, Yeah, J-Dub's already really good. I agree. Like I said, let's see. He has the fourth best odds currently for most improved player. Tied, actually, interestingly enough, with Evan Mobley and Jalen Johnson, a couple of guys we've already talked about. It would be in the playoffs. Like, it would be him exercising his demons from a year ago, where he was not good at all in that Mavericks series. He was pretty much a ghost, and that is the overarching. We can talk about the size and stuff. Size definitely was not in the Thunder favor. They got killed on the glass. All of this, PJ Washington had a great series. Defensively, their game plan just really did not work against a Mavericks team. The Thunder game plan being, we're going to swarm around, and if you shoot corner threes, so be it. The Mavericks offense is, we want to shoot corner threes, so it really kind of killed the Thunder. But by and large, J-Dub being a ghost was the biggest reason, I think. They just did not have a secondary guy in that series. So it'll be in the playoffs that J-Dub kind of takes his step, where it's like, all right, he's ready to go. Like, he is somebody we can count on to be a number 2 next to Shea moving forward. Victor Wembanyama is like the heavy favorite to win most improved. That's so fucking stupid to me, honestly. So stupid. Kuminga is number 2, by the way. Tier 3, bigger roles incoming. These 3 players are set to take on bigger roles than they've had recently, and they'll get a chance to show their worth, be it with their contracts or their on-court roles. Josh Giddey right here. Now, just full disclosure, Josh Giddey currently 3rd in Most Improved Player of the Year voting. A week from Friday is when I'm doing my award predictions. And I'm just telling you right now, I'm leaning towards the Giddey Most Improved Player. That's kind of where my mind is taking me. Josh Giddey. Man. Who said keep your hands ready? What was the quote? It was Zach LaVine, right? Said everyone needs to get their hands ready playing next to Josh Giddey. Just set him up. Just completely set him up. The media will look for any reason not to give it to him. I think that could factor in, where if it gets to nut crunch time and we're actually talking about the votes, it's like, am I really about to vote for Josh Giddey? Puff Giddey. But Josh Giddey, no secret, just stuck out like a fish out of water on that Thunder team. Like, just didn't make much sense last year. And it really, the Thunder got much better. Teams had a really game plan on how they were going to stop the Thunder. And he was the attack point, both defensively and offensively. We're going to leave you alone. You're going to shoot open threes, 33% from 3 last year. I don't think that number even does justice as to how bad he was from 3 last year, because the overwhelming majority of those are just completely wide open. Completely wide open. And he was unplayable in the playoffs, especially in that Mavs series. Completely unplayable. Played off the floor entirely. 12 points per game last season, but sophomore year, 2 years ago, 16 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. He's now going to a place where he's going to have the ball in his hands. He's going to be the primary guy just in terms of initiating offense. I think he'll have a good season. I really do. And I think we'll look at this Caruso-Giddey trade completely differently by the end of the year. Not saying that it'll be a bad trade for the Thunder or anything, but just saying that the Bulls did much better than we initially thought. Not me. I said from the onset, I was like, this isn't as bad of a trade as everyone is making it out to be. But you know how people are, right? I'm looking at some of these most improved player odds, and it's Aaron Gordon is on here. Aaron Gordon is on here. Jamal Murray is on here. Like, what the fuck would have to happen for that scenario to play out? DeJounte Murray's on here. Like, what would have to happen for those guys to win that award? Şengün? Like, really? LaMelo is on here? LaMelo Ball's made an all-star game and run Rookie of the Year. Paolo has really good odds. I mean, if Paolo wins Rookie of the Year, or most improved player of the year. If Paolo wins rookie of the year, something really weird has happened. If Paolo wins most improved player, what are we talking? Like top 3, top 5? Like what would have to happen there? Brandon Podziemski. He's got pretty good odds to win most improved player. He was good last year for the Warriors. I do wonder what his ceiling is, though. To me, he just screams like solid role player. Like, I don't know. I don't know if there's a world where he blossoms into much else. But he was really good as a rookie and wasn't like a guy who I thought we expected to like be good immediately, and he was. Now, I do think that Derek Lively got completely robbed of first team all rookie. But hey, you know, he showed out in the playoffs. Derek Lively proved everyone wrong in the postseason. Pods has historically gotten better every year, so you got to take that into consideration. That's true. I mean, he's 21 years old, so. And he will. I mean, just the, like this article says, bigger roles incoming. That's 100% true. With Klay Thompson gone now, Podziemski is going to be a key player, going to start for them, I would assume, right? It's going to be interesting. He went from no minutes at Illinois year 1 to a draft pick the year after. Yeah, I guess it is kind of silly to just assume that he's kind of done. Plus 10,000 odds for Lively to win most improved player. That's a good bet. Not really. I mean, second-year guys never win it. And just for Lively to win it, he was too good as a rookie. Like, Lively was too good as a rookie to win it just because what is he... What does a most improved player of the year season look like for Derek Lively? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking all-star? We'd have to be. We'd be talking like defensive player of the year level defense. I just don't really see it. I also hate second-year guys getting most improved player. I just think it's fucking stupid. It sort of goes against the spirit of the award, in my opinion. Cam Thomas, we're doing the Cam Thomas breakout again. We did this last year, but this year it is like, who else is scoring? Wow, his odds are plus 3,400. I actually thought it'd be much better than that. Scotty Barnes has better most improved player odds than Cam Thomas. Again, Scotty, like, what is the... He was an all-star last year. Dodo self-creation leap. Maybe sneaky Cam Johnson most improved player shouts. Yeah. I'm so interested by this Nets team. I think they're so bad. Cam Thomas about to have a Jerry Stackhouse type of season. 30 points a game coming up for Cam Thomas. People thought that was happening last year. That we would get like a horrible 30-point per game season from Cam Thomas. I remember people saying that. Only got to 14. I'm sorry, 22. 14 is his career average. 22 points a game. On 18 shots. Do we get 25 shots a game? Do we get 25 shots? He averaged 2.9 assists. I don't know. I'm here for it. It'll be interesting to watch. Role players who can make greater impacts. Keon Ellis is a great one. Very sneaky. I think this is a sneaky most improved player bet right here. I'm looking through. I'm scrolling through. I have yet to see him, and I doubt he's even on here for their odds. He isn't. But Keon Ellis last year blossomed into this guy for the Kings who like would pick up the other team's best player. Now Keon is still on the Kings. You're thinking of Davion Mitchell. Guard the other team's best player. a dog defensively, and shot 41% from three on 3 attempts a game. He's not going to score really. But if they're going to be good, and if they're going to really make a playoff push, he's going to be a very, very key component of that. Wouldn't you expect him to get even fewer touches? Offense isn't really the thing with Keon Ellis. It's defense. Like, they desperately need him defensively. And if they're really good, if they like surpass expectations, I think Keon Ellis will be a big reason for that. Chris Murray, most improved player. There's a Keegan Murray, most improved player argument. I wonder what his odds are. They're pretty high. He's tied with Jabari Smith. Defense only players almost never win most improved player, I feel, but maybe I'm wrong. It would have to be a world where he shoots a little bit more threes and gets up to like 10 points a game, and his defense is just so impressive on a team that's otherwise pretty bad defensively. I like the Keon Ellis shout, though. That's a good one. Tyus Jones, obviously, yes. Tyus Jones should have a very good season. I mean, there's not really a lot of reasons that he won't have an impactful season unless, and this is a big one because I could 100% see it happening, unless their defense becomes such a problem that it just, they can't justify it. Like if the Suns are struggling so bad defensively that they feel like they have to have a better defender in the lineup, whether that's a Koji, whether that's Ryan Dunn, who I don't know how much burn he's actually going to get this year. That they're just like, fuck it. Beal, Booker, one of you guys are going to have to play point guard even though you don't want to. Like, one of you guys are going to do it. And he's back to the bench. I could see the Suns being way better. They were injury hell to start the year, it felt like. Yeah, I think the Suns would be good. I do worry about their defense. Offensively, they're going to be torching teams. If they're healthy, they are going to be torching teams offensively. It's just defensively, can they get enough to not be in like 130 to 135 games? What happens to the Suns if they are trash? I don't see a world where they're trash unless they're really injured. But if they are trash, I don't know. I mean, does Kevin Durant get traded midseason? I would say no, but are we really going to sit here and pretend like it's not a possibility? You know, it's Kevin Durant. It's a disappointment if the Suns are bad offensively. It's a disappointment if the Suns aren't like top 3 offensively. Not just bad. Like, they need to be top 5. For them to do what they want to do, they need to be one of, if not the best offense in the NBA. And it's definitely possible. Booker to the Pistons is my sneaky bet. Huh. That would be interesting. I think they'll be a good record team that you don't pick to win the playoffs. We'll see, though. I mean, if their defense is hovering around top 10, they'll be trendy. Like, last year, they were 12th in defensive rating, surprisingly. I still can't believe it anytime I see that stat. Booker to Orlando, that would be sick. Terrence Mann, okay, sure. Sure. I mean, I feel like this has been like year 8. How many years has he been in the fucking league? 5? I think he's been a breakout candidate every single year. Like, genuinely, I think every single year of his career, Terrence Mann has been on breakout candidate lists. Terrence Mann for the 5th year in a row. This is it, right? I like the Keon Ellis shout. Cam Thomas, you know, I don't really know what a leap looks like for him. I am in on Josh Giddey. Podziemski, you know, yeah. J-Dub, I think, again, it'll be a postseason thing for him. Jalen Johnson, very interested to see what his season looks like. Jalen Green, I am rooting for because he's fun to watch. Franz Wagner, again, planting my flag. All-star season incoming. Mobley, I just have to see it. I really got to see it to believe it. Brandon Miller. Well, I was about to say, I don't think they had rookies on here, but they had Podziemski on here. Devin Vassell, I mean, I can't say that Terrence Mann's been a breakout player candidate for 5 years and then not say the same thing about Devin Vassell, at least for me. Devin Vassell's already really good. He just has to stay on the basketball court, and just by nature of Wemby being on the team and them hopefully being more competitive this year, more people will be in tune with how good he is. Do you think Franz develops that 3-ball again or just gets crazy good inside the arc? I think his 3-ball will be better. Like, can his 3-ball get to around league average? Chris Paul will have a serious effect on Devin Vassell, I'm predicting. Yeah. I'm just, for Vassell, just needs to stay on the basketball court, man. Easier said than done, but that's the thing. Jaime Jaquez Jr., we'll see. Kind of like tailed off towards the end of the season last year, and then he was an older rookie, so the ceiling is always kind of limited for those guys. I'll give a shout to another Miami Heat guy, and he's somebody who I haven't finalized any of my predictions, but he is somebody who I toyed with the idea of an out there most improved player candidate, Nikola Jovic. Just don't know what the play time for a guy like him looks like. But he's got some interesting tools. Great size. How each NBA team can win or lose more games than projected. Ooh, here we go. Kevin Pelton, our guy Kevin Pelton. Let's fire it up. Eastern Conference, Atlanta Hawks. Scenario, Ricochet proves a quick study. Result, 34 wins. So is this saying, like, their projections? Is Kevin Pelton the one who does the preseason win thing? He has the win formula or whatever the fuck it's called. That is him, correct? All right, so he thinks that the Hawks will be better than their projections. I actually do agree. Their roster is just better. And I don't think it's Ricochet. I don't think Ricochet would be like the reason why. Although if he is good, that'll help them. It'll just be Trae Young plays a lot of games. Jalen Johnson plays a lot of games. And I think more than anything, it'll be Jalen Johnson's first half of last year where he looked like he might win most improved player. That's real. Like, that is real and legitimate. Because if that's the case, they'll go over 32. They'll win over 32 games, I think, pretty comfortably. This is just such a low. I always get fucking burned. I always get burned by the Hawks for whatever reason when it comes to their wins and how many games I think they're gonna win. But man, I just don't know. Their over under is 35.5. So I don't really know what this is in reference to, what this plus is. Maybe I should read the intro, huh? In practice, there are plenty of scenarios that can allow a team to beat its projection. From better health to player improvement to making trades. So let's run through one such outcome for each NBA team and see how it can improve its projection. Okay, all right. So this is going off of Kevin Pelton's projections in his little system and figuring out if we tweak one thing here or there, how does it change their projections? Okay, got it. So if Ricochet is good, then that improves their projections by 2 wins. Okay, got it. Boston Celtics repeat as NBA's best offense. So again, like I said, I haven't watched much NBA preseason, just haven't had the time yet. Did watch the Celtics and Nuggets games. The ball just hops around so much, man. I mean, it's still, obviously, it's not going to change. Like, they didn't lose anybody, so that's how their offense is going to be. Holy shit, the ball just moves around like crazy. Will they repeat as the NBA's best offense? I think the Mavs will be in play for the best offense in the NBA, assuming Tyrese Halliburton's healthy for most of the season. The Pacers will be in play for that. The Suns will be in play for that as well. But, of course, the Celtics, they have the talent. Jaylen Brown looks fucking good. Jaylen Brown looks really good. And Tatum's jump shot does look better. His shooting numbers were pretty decent the first 2 games against the Nuggets in the preseason. His shot just does look a little bit cleaner. So it's definitely possible. Brooklyn Nets. So what's did we look at Kevin Pelton's win-loss predictions? He had minus 1.8 wins. So that means he has the Nets projected to win 36 games? Am I reading that correctly? Just so you guys are aware, their over-under, according to Vegas, is 18.5. So he has them doubling. Brooklyn Nets scenario trade starters. I'm shocked this isn't higher, but redistributing minutes from Nick Claxton, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and Dennis Schroeder within the roster pushes Brooklyn down a couple of wins. I don't see a scenario at all where they win 30 games. That is a really difficult scenario for me to imagine. I think a better explanation would be how the fuck do they get to 35 wins? Cam Thomas is most improved player. Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball stays healthy. I am going to drop a Charlotte Hornets video at some point. I do 1,000,000% think that they'll be a playing team this year. If LaMelo Ball is healthy, yes, I think that they'll be a top 10 seed in the Eastern Conference. Absolutely. He's 6'7", man. Like, it's just crazy to me. He is 6'7". The last time we've seen him even be remotely healthy, he made an All-Star game in his second year as a 20-year-old. I just feel like we forget about LaMelo, and rightfully so. He's played 50 games over the last 2 years combined. Like, there's more clips of him speeding out of the Charlotte Hornets parking lot and nearly running over several pedestrians. More clips of that than actual basketball clips. Never fall for the LaMelo Zion healthy hype. The thing about LaMelo, though, is it's ankles. Like, it's ankles, and we have seen guards have ankle issues, and then those get kind of worked out over time as they've changed shoes, as they've worn ankle braces. LaMelo's going to wear ankle braces this year. That's such a fucking stupid thing that we even have to talk about. LaMelo's going to wear ankle braces this year. You know, guys do workouts to make their ankles stronger. There is a world where he runs over a child leaving the stadium and he's suspended. But we just have to pretend like that's a world that doesn't exist, okay? So Pelton has, and again, it's not like Kevin Pelton himself is predicting this. He has like a whole formula, right? But that formula has the Nets winning 5 more games than the Hornets. I can't. What's up with the What's up with the Nets? Can we find that article? Can we find the original wins-loss thing? How in the fuck are we getting to... How are we getting to 35 wins for the Nets? I have to just see for myself. When the Nets traded Mikal Bridges to the crosstown rival Knicks, it felt like the first in a series of moves to tear down the roster in pursuit of lottery picks. Brooklyn instead stood pat the rest of the summer, meaning there's still plenty of NBA talent on the roster for now. The Nets could look very different by the trade deadline, explaining why they've got the lowest wins total at ESPN Bet, 19.5. Until then, Brooklyn might be a bit more competitive than expected. I don't see it. Do we like factor in that they made a point to trade for their own picks back? They did the crazy Mikal Bridges trade, but that was immediately followed up by them trading for their own picks back. Assumingly knowing that they were going to suck ass and they wanted to be in control of their own destiny. Okay. Chicago Bulls trade Zach LaVine. If the Bulls went full rebuild by trading Zach LaVine for expiring contracts and redistributed those minutes within the roster, their projection falling below 30 wins into the bottom 5 overall. So I keep sort of with myself, the Chicago Bulls over-under, by the way, 27.5 wins. I do think they'll be better than that. But a lot of that has to do with my belief that I think Josh Giddey will be better this year than people expect. And if that is the case, I think they'll be 30-plus wins. I don't think they'll be good. But I do think they'll be better than this. And trading Zach LaVine, with Kobe White there, with Josh Giddey now in the mix, with, Ayo Dosunmu, obviously. Lonzo is reportedly coming back, and Lonzo will be playing basketball this year. How much of an impact does trading Zach LaVine actually have? That is the question. Cleveland Cavaliers, Evan Mobley wins Defensive Player of the Year. That only increases their win total by 0.7? Mobley winning Most Improved Player, or Defensive Player of the Year. Now let's just assume that Victor Wembanyama is healthy and plays 65 games. Because, damn, it just feels like he's already being crowned the Defensive Player of the Year. Mobley would have to have an otherworldly defensive season. So I'm a little bit surprised that those numbers aren't higher. The reality is it's hard to improve much on the Cavaliers' projection, already second best in the East. In this scenario, I've given Mobley the best defensive rating of any veteran player, reflecting a leap to winning Defensive Player of the Year after finishing third in the voting in 22-23. That adds almost a win to Cleveland's total. All right, I guess I get what he's saying. Is that, like, I'm sure in his projections, Mobley's already a great defensive player. So adding a few, points or whatever to his defensive rating doesn't change much. But if Mobley's Defensive Player of the Year, the Cavs feel like a mid-50s win team to me. Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham makes a leap. Although Cunningham made some solid progress last season, averaging career-high marks of 22 points per game and 7.5 assists, it wasn't the breakout season we've awaited from the 2021 number one overall pick. Let's say he follows in the footsteps of the player drafted number one a year earlier, Anthony Edwards. Ooh. Matching Edwards' offensive rating from last season would generate a 2-win swing for the Pistons. All right. I'm interested in the Pistons this year. As I'm preparing my predictions, I've toyed with the idea of the Pistons being a playing team, being a little bit frisky. Just can't really get there. But I am a big Cade Cunningham guy. You guys know that. I thought he was really good last season. And just the floor spacing alone will help Cade Cunningham so much. More than anything else he does. Indiana Pacers become the league's best offense. Now, that's definitely in the realm of possibility. The Pacers' offensive projection is good, certainly, but not quite at the level of what was the best offense in the NBA before Tyrese Halliburton's hamstring injury in January. If we match the best offensive projection for any other team in combination with an improved defense, that pushes Indiana's expectation north of 49 wins. Do we think the Pacers can get 50 wins this year? Their over-under right now is 47.5. I think it's possible. They were a much better defense in the back half of last season. Now, it sort of was like this trade-off where they played a little bit slower. I think they just sort of looked at it like, we can't play the offense we play and expect to be good on defense, so we have to sort of sacrifice a little bit there. But a full season with Siakam, I think there's a world where they could get to 50 wins. I think that they're really sort of being, are you ready to grind Pistons versus Raptors tape on a Tuesday? Yes, I really can't wait. Everyone talks about, the Cavs, obviously the Magic taking this big leap forward, the 76ers. The Pacers, Eastern Conference finalists last year. I feel like they're going under the radar just a tiny bit. Here we go. This one's interesting for the Heat. Khalil Ware contributes immediately, 46 wins. So another thing I've been thinking, the Heat, we're sort of riding them off. Last year, this is who they've been, where they haven't really taken the regular season all that seriously, and in the postseason they turn up the zombie Heat. Last year, we were sort of waiting for it, but then it never happened. And I think a lot of people have taken that to mean, all right, it's over for Miami. There's some weird shit going on with Jimmy Butler and his contract. But I was looking at their roster, and I'm like, you know what? They might be good. They might be good. And yeah, Khalil Ware was awesome at in Vegas. And there's some Derek Lively comparisons there. Not that they're similar really as players, but more so the rookie center. You kind of need a center. You can't really rely on rookie big men. But what if this guy's kind of different? They're falling off this year. They could go one of two ways. I'm excited about Friday when we do best worst case scenario for each team because their range of outcomes feels crazy. Milwaukee Bucks, Damian Lillard back to top 5 status offensively. That improves them by 1.5 wins. Dame looked pretty good in their game last night. Don't want to put too much stock into the preseason, but it's interesting. Like Dame had his moments where he wasn't great last year and he looked old, but by and large, he was pretty fucking good last year. Lillard's projection on offense is hardly weak, which is why this doesn't have more impact. He projects as the league's 14th best offensive player. That sounds about right. It's realistic, however, for Lillard to be a top 5 player on offense with a year of experience in Milwaukee, and that's also true. 48 wins. So you look at the over/under for the Bucks. Currently, 50.5 wins. I think that they'll reach that. I struggle to see how they don't. I mean, they were at 49 wins a year ago, and that felt like a season from hell. I guess the argument would be Chris Middleton injury or surgery on both ankles. Brook Lopez old as hell. Like old as shit. New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson repeats as All-NBA first team. Brunson's development into arguably a top 5 player in the NBA was a new high water mark for his performance, so inevitably his projection factors in some regression towards his previous play. If Brunson could duplicate last season level performance, it would add more than 2 wins to the Knicks' outlook. He's got the Knicks at 47 wins. These projections are harsh. Man. 47 wins for the Knicks. I'm a little bit lower on their regular season outlook than I think most. 54.5 wins is their over/under currently. I would bet the under there strongly. You're saying the Bucks are worse than Philly, Celtics, Cavs, Pacers, Magic, Knicks, Heat? Ugh. I don't know about all that. They still got Giannis. How's Chris Middleton even walking up and down the court at this point? I do agree. For the Bucks, DeLon Wright, Gary Trent Jr. were really good pickups. See, I think the Knicks will be at 51 wins. 47. Damn. That's +2. So that means he had... I don't want to keep doubling back here. That means that he had them at 45 wins? Is that right? Wow. I'm a little bit surprised. Paolo Banchero takes the next step. The Magic have a top 3 defensive projection after finishing 3rd last season and adding KCP in free agency. Their offense would benefit from Banchero continuing his development into a go-to guy after earning all-star honors last season, boosting his offensive projection by a little more than a point per 100 possessions. Results in nearly 2 more wins for Orlando at 45 wins. If Paolo really takes a step, and I don't know what he really constitutes as the next step, already an all-star, if we're saying all-NBA, right? Top 15 level player for Paolo this upcoming season, they're going to win way more than 45 games. They're going to be in the 50s. Their defense is that good. And if they get a real superstar level offensive player in Paolo, next to Franz Wagner, next to, Jalen Suggs, what he does defensively, next to KCP and his shooting and defense, and all the other pieces that they have, they'll be a 50-win team easily. I mean, easily. Philadelphia 76ers, Paul George has a repeat season. So I'm just, I really want to know what these projections are, because if Paul George, a repeat season for Paul George, like from last season where he was really, really good in the regular season. A repeat season meaning he's an all-star / borderline fringe all-NBA player. Would mean that the Sixers have 3 guys in the top 20, top 25, Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George. 47 wins? Like, maybe I just don't get it. What's up, chat? What's up, Slightly? 39 years old, by the way. Unk. Thank you. Hello. Toronto Raptors, Bruce Brown Jr. deadline trade decreases him by 1 win. Okay. 32 wins for the Raptors. That feels about what I'd expect. Everyone's like shitting on them because they've just openly said we're going to be bad. I still kind of like their roster. Their over-runners at 29.5 wins. I could easily see them hitting 30 plus, but I don't think they'll be like a playing team or anything like that. But trading Bruce Brown, I mean, if what we see from Bruce Brown is similar to what we saw last year, that feels like addition by subtraction. I mean, he sucked ass. Like, he was fucking terrible. That might actually improve them, depending on what they get. Washington Wizards, Jordan Poole has another down year. With the NBA's lowest win projection, the Wizards seemingly wouldn't have much more room to drop. However, Poole's projection gives him credit for 2 stronger seasons in Golden State before being dealt to Washington is struggling. If he repeats last season's offensive rating, that drops Washington projections more than 2 wins. Okay. I mean, let's play. Actually, we'll do this on Friday, playing devil's advocate on how good a team can be. 20 wins, fine. I mean, I'm not fine. Dallas Mavericks. All right, here we go. +1 if the Mavericks repeat post All-Star defense. The Mavericks have the second best offensive projection of any team. Nice. But their defense is forecast slightly worse than league average after the departure of forward Derrick Jones Jr. If Dallas could repeat ranking 13th in defensive rating after last year's All-Star break, that would push the Mavericks' expectation north of 50 wins. 13th? I guess it was really like the last 2 months of the season. If you had to take out some February games where they were top 10 and like really dominant defensively. If the Mavs have a similar defense to that stretch, oh, you're talking mid-50s easily in wins. Bro, the Mavs had the number 1 defense post-trade deadline. I don't think it was number 1 post-trade deadline, was it? It was like March onwards. Once they started that winning streak. There was a terrible 6 or 7 game stretch that really fucked the numbers up. I mean, this is fair. He has us at 50 wins. Like, their projection system, nobody makes 50 wins. Like, this is incredible for them to be at 50 wins. So we live with that. It is interesting that his projections have the Mavericks as the second best offense. I'm assuming behind the Thunder, maybe the Celtics, maybe. I do think they'll be in play for the best offense in the NBA, 100%. And if their defense is top 10-ish, then they'll be easily mid-50s win team, contending for the number 1 seed. Nuggets, Christian Brown becomes KCP. So if this happens, they're winning mid-50s in games. You would think, at least. Christian Brown becomes KCP. What does that even look like? A weird morphing animation. What were those books back in the day? Where the cover would be an animal and a human, and there'd be about five pictures of them slowly morphing together until the human turned into a pterodactyl or whatever the fuck it was. Anamorphs. Anamorphers. We need a picture of Christian Brown slowly turning into KCP. Hey, Sidley, where do you shop for clothes? I want to dress like you. So this is Supreme. Supreme and Mason Margiela. These shorts. These caps are steroids. Shorts are The shorts are what are these shorts? Fear of God. Socks are off-white Nike. Slides are Adidas. But not just any Adidas. Adidas Alexander Wang collab, $1,600. Sunglasses, of course, are Prada. Do you see they just announced they're building a racetrack in Arlington? I like racetrack. Racetrack's the best gas station. Look right here, racetrack. I got racetrack coffee this morning. I'm actually recording right now for a slightly biased clip, so we need to lock back in here. We need to lock back in. Christian Brown becomes KCP. You know what I actually think would help their team more is if some of these bench guys, like, Russ looked pretty interesting in the first couple of games. Strother looked pretty interesting. If Peyton Watson, obviously, if those guys turn into like a really actual formidable bench unit, I think that does a lot for them. Golden State Warriors, Stephen Curry defies aging. Truthfully, this is a little more than aging. My projections pull outlier players back to the pack, so even in Curry's prime, he wouldn't have been forecast to stay quite as dominant as the previous season. But if Curry could run back his offensive rating from 23-24, it would lift the Warriors' projection by nearly 3 wins. So all he has to do is run back his offensive rating from last season? That doesn't seem that outside of the realm of possibility. Slightly biased Muse, per sources, slightly biased, loves racetrack gas station hot dogs. I eat 13.4 of them a day. Wow. I'm in a fantasy league where one of our punishments, or the punishment for finishing last place, is you have to do the 999 challenge. Now, what that is you go to a baseball game, and over the course of the 9 innings, you have to finish 9 beers as well as 9 hot dogs. Thankfully, it does not look like I'll be in last place there. That sounds like an ER trip. Like, just full stop. We are getting older. We're not 18 years old anymore. We are getting older. Just sort of feels like the body's going to reject that. Just sort of feels like the body's going to say no. Like, once hot dog number 4 enters the digestive system, it just feels like your body's going to say, hey, what the fuck's going on here? I'm shutting down. We're not doing another one. I'm going to lose on purpose. Oh, I got last. Oh, man. 9 hot dogs. Oh, darn it. If you're doing 9 hot dogs, nine beers, if we're just going caloric intake there, where are we at? 4,000 or 5,000 calories. That just might be on beer alone. 9 beers. I feel like you can't have any added calories from condiments. Houston Rockets. Youngsters maintain defensive improvement. In large part because Houston was so bad defensively in the 2 previous seasons. Recent lottery picks, Jalen Green and Jabari Smith Jr. have dismal defensive projections. Last season, they were 2nd and 3rd in minutes played on above average defense. If they perform at that level, it would lift the Rockets' defensive projection from 13th to 7th. So it sort of feels like his formula here is a little bit flawed. The projections are a little bit flawed if they rely so heavily on past performance, just because it does sort of, I don't know. The Rockets obviously were a much different team last year than they were the years prior, due in large part to Ime Udoka getting there, their young guys getting better, Fred VanVleet, a real actual veteran being thrown into the mix, Dylan Brooks obviously. So yeah, if they keep getting better defensively, they will be 1,000% in the mix for the playoffs. 100%. They'll be a scary team. Clippers, Kawhi Leonard plays 68 games. That has meant 38 wins. That's sad. That is sad. If Kawhi Leonard is healthy enough to get to 68 games, which he did play last year, 68 games, that lands him at 38 wins. This dark days are ahead for the Clippers. I mean, it's scary. Their outlook is very scary. Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis plays 76 games. That's what he played last year, wasn't it? That gets them to 42 wins. Man, the Lakers. My Los Angeles Lakers, they'll be mid 40s to upper 40s if LeBron and AD are healthy. Like, they just will. They were at 47 wins last year. I guess you can make the argument the West has gotten better, although you look at it, right? The Pelicans won 49 games last year. I'm not so convinced that they're going to be that good again this year. The Warriors were 46 and 36, 10 games above 500. They were the 10th. They were the 10th spot. I don't know. It feels like they've gotten worse, right? The Rockets have gotten better. The Grizzlies obviously have gotten much better. I don't know. LeBron and AD are healthy. Mid 40s, upper 40s in the play-in sounds about right to me. Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson Jr. wins Defensive Player of the Year. There's no fucking way in hell that's happening. That leads them at 52 wins. All right. I feel like a better projection for this would be, because assuming he does like the last 3 years or something, I'm assuming John Morant's like games played projections like really fucked up. I wonder if it would be like John Morant plays 76 games. There's no world. No world in which I think he's back in Defensive Player of the Year conversations. Minnesota Timberwolves repeat as NBA's best defense. Whoa, what the hell? Whoa. All right. They repeat as the NBA's best defense, and that has them at 46 wins. What? Wow, his projections have the Timberwolves at 42 wins. What on earth? I really think it's because he tries to like avoid outlier seasons. But in those, like, trying to avoid outlier seasons, like if you were to look at the Timberwolves' last 3 years, obviously last year's an outlier season, but that outlier season just is a trend, I think, for the Timberwolves. Where, hey, we're really good on defense now. Anthony Edwards is here as a star. And it sort of doesn't factor that in. 42 wins. And this is saying if they had the best defense again, they're only at 47. Huh. The simple explanation for why the Timberwolves' initial projection was so poor is that they're projected 9th in defensive rating after leading the league last season. My projections take multiple seasons of data, which includes 22-23 when Minnesota ranked 10th on defense. Still, there was nothing fluky about the way the Timberwolves defended last season, and adding guard Dante DiVincenzo likely upgrades their perimeter defense. Okay, interesting. Pelicans, Zion Williamson plays 70 games. That lands him at 43 wins in these projections. At 50 games, Williamson has the lowest possible projection aside from players with pre-existing injuries. Wow. Hopefully Zion's healthy, man. That goes without being said. He was awesome last year. He was so good in the play-in tournament. Sucks that we didn't get to see him at all against the Thunder. Just absolutely sucks. We still have yet to see Zion in a playoff series. The times they have made the playoffs, he was injured. Oklahoma City Thunder. Chet Holmgren stays healthy. That has him at 54 wins. He played all 82 games last year. That's crazy. Still, though, 54 wins. Like, that's surprisingly low. Suns, Kevin Durant leads a top 5 offense. So we talked about the Suns a little bit earlier. I do think there's a world where they could have the best offense in the NBA. Now, it really depends. Like, if their defense is passable with the starting 5 that they're going to throw out there, assuming they're healthy. Like, if their defense is passable and they're comfortable with that starting 5, they'll be so good offensively. But if the defense is a little bit wonky and they feel like they need to pull the plug on Tyus Jones starting or whatever the case may be, their offense might take a little bit of a hit. But if they're healthy, they're going to be scoring a ton of fucking points, man. A ton of points. I do think the Suns will be good too. That's kind of where I'm starting to land. Trailblazers, fewer minutes for the starters, 31 wins. 31 feels high for them. But then you look at the roster, and it is like Deni Avdija, Jeremy Grant. You have Robert Williams is already hurt, no surprise there. But you have Ayton. Klingon's an interesting rookie. Obviously, Scoot, year 2. Shane Sharp's already hurt. Anthony Simons. Like, it's not. You look at some of the other like teams that are projected to be terrible. It's really not that bad. Kings, DeMar DeRozan repeats last season. That puts him at 51.5 wins. Wow, the projections are high for the Kings. DeRozan sees his projection decline because of his age and changing teams. In this case, this feels more accurate because DeRozan's role will change dramatically, playing alongside Fox and Sabonis. Still, if DeRozan could repeat his play with the Chicago Bulls, it would add more than 2 wins. So this is interesting to me because what does that mean? Like, if DeRozan is a similar stats-wise to where he was in Chicago, to me, isn't that kind of a weird thing? Because that means Fox and Sabonis' stats take a bit of a hit, right? Like, it's not just like, oh, just plug in DeRozan and with Fox and Sabonis and Keegan Murray, like, add in those numbers. Like, you're replacing Harrison Barnes, who had low offensive output. So, like, somebody else's numbers take a hit. I'd rather have De'Aaron Fox doing things than DeRozan. Despite all the shit, I'd rather have Sabonis doing things instead of DeRozan. And you still have Keegan Murray, who's primed to take a leap. Like, I do see a world. I know I shit on the Kings. I shit on Sabonis. I see a world where I squint and the Kings are a really good basketball team. Even though I do think their ceiling, playoff-wise, is pretty capped currently. San Antonio Spurs. Stephon Castle develops outside shooting. That bumps them up nearly 3 wins. Wow. 36 wins would be nice for the Spurs. Like, that would be a nice number to hit this year. Mid to upper 30s coming off of 22 wins last year. Like, that's about 15, 16 win increase. That's about where you want to see if you're like a young team that you would hope is a couple years away from like real championship aspirations. Utah Jazz shut down Larry Markkinen. That only decreases their win total by 1. What is already the weakest projection for any West team. So he has his original projections have the Jazz winning around 29 games. And that's the lowest projection. So he doesn't have like any bottom dweller teams, which I think factors into their not being like super top end teams. We're talking 55 to 60 wins, 60 plus wins. Not a lot of 50 win teams either. Interesting. This would be interesting to look back on to see like which of these things happen and how it actually. The Timberwolves one is shocking to me. 46 wins, even with the best defense in the NBA. Huh. You know, we love ourselves some trades. NBA fans are unlike any other fans in that way. That is just give us trade talk. We fucking love trade content. It happens immediately. The moment the season starts, everybody always hypes up. What day of December is it? December 16th. This is the day that players who signed in free agency can be traded. Be on the lookout for these 6 guys. And none of them ever fucking get traded ever. Has a trade ever happened on that day? Like, genuinely, have we ever seen a trade actually happen on that December day that always gets talked about? I feel like no. NBA early trade preview. 7 players to watch for the 24-25 season. Starting off with Zach LaVine, obviously. Zach LaVine has been in trade talks now for, what has it been, 20 years? No, it's been a while for Zach LaVine. They have reportedly wanted to get off that contract. There's reportedly no buyers, which does make some sense. The contract, the age, the decline, this idea that you're adding a high volume guard who's not necessarily the most efficient into the mix. Like which championship contending teams are lining up for that? Not many, if any. Remember when Mavs fans wanted LaVine? Oh, I will openly say, and I think I've said this before, if they didn't trade for Kyrie Irving, I am about 90% sure that Zach LaVine would be a Dallas Maverick right now. Like, if the Kyrie Irving trade never materialized, 100% I think Zach LaVine is on the Dallas Mavericks right this second. And God knows what we're probably. I mean, Luka's probably on the Miami Heat. Like, if we're just being honest, Luka's probably on the Miami Heat right now. And we're talking ourselves into Khalil Ware, Nikola Jovic, Tyler Hero. This will be the year for Tyler Hero. No, he needed to change the scenery. Last season, the Bulls were outscored by 5.5 points per 100 possessions with LaVine playing, compared to just half a point when he sat. Ooh, that's not what you want to see. Now, what are the trade candidates? Do they have? It's hard to identify a team that feels like a natural fit, but could the rebuilding Brooklyn Nets, who could possibly collect an asset or two, be willing to take on LaVine's contract? That feels like that would be more it. You know, that would actually be hilarious if there. I can actually kind of see it right now. I was just about to say Ben Simmons, get off Ben Simmons' expiring contract, and maybe the Bulls attach something of interest to get off of LaVine's money. And for the Nets, like, fuck it, we're gonna be bad for the next 4 years anyway. We don't really care. Yo, Sally, question for later, but why do you hate number 4, Dakota? I'm a rational Cowboys Twitter fan. I don't hate Dak at all. He's the highest paid player of all time. Like, there's expectations that come with it, and I tweeted that out after he threw, was it the second dog? Like, he was bad last night until the closing drive where he was really, really good. But also understand when I'm tweeting about the Dallas Cowboys, I don't care. Like, I don't feel strong in any of my opinions about them. So when people get very upset in the replies, it's not the way I'm done tweeting about the Cowboys. How about that? I could see this Nets trade at the deadline. It's hard to find like winning teams that want to contend that'll pull the trigger for Zach LaVine. Like even the Lakers, that feels low. D'Angelo Russell for the Lakers. Again, this guy's been in trade talks for about 20 years at this point. For D'Lo, it's so interesting. He's very important for them. All of the numbers last year pointed towards D'Angelo Russell is so crucial for this Lakers team. His floor spacing, his shooting, his ability to dribble the basketball and initiate offense, so important for the Lakers. And yet the postseason rolls around and this guy's a fucking pumpkin every single time, to the point where it's just like you can't rely on him or can't count on him being there in the playoffs. 38% overall in the postseason, including a scoreless 0-7 showing in Game 3 against Denver that was sandwiched between an 8-16 outing in Game 2 and an 8-14 performance in Game 4. Is D'Angelo Russell really... I feel like when we're talking about D'Lo trade stuff, the more interesting conversation is who is coming back in return, right? The Orlando Magic, who could still use more perimeter shooting and guard play, could have interest if Russell becomes available. I think I predicted in the offseason predictions that D'Angelo Russell went to the Magic. I could be wrong, but I think that's what my prediction was. Or maybe it was a trade deadline or something. I don't know. That's kind of an interesting fit, especially if like the whole Suggs is our point guard thing isn't really working out the way you want it to. Could that be a desperation move for the Magic? And maybe they say, we have enough defensive pieces elsewhere on the roster that we can make up for D'Lo. We just need somebody who can shoot, somebody who can dribble the basketball and initiate offense. But then what would the Lakers be getting back in return for that? I'd rather shoot 0 of 30 than trade for D'Lo. Like, who from the Magic is making their way to LA to make that make sense? Of course, D'Lo's name will be in trade talks all season long. Bruce Brown. Okay, maybe this article is more boring than I initially thought. Bruce Brown, do we think Bruce Brown obviously was great, was really good for the Nets, but was great for the Nuggets in their championship run. Bad season last year with Indiana, wasn't good with the Raptors either. Of course, he signed that really weird deal with Indiana with the player option at the end, or the team option, $23 million, which the Raptors picked up. Really nice trade piece contractually. If Bruce Brown gets traded somewhere midseason, how much does it move us? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I don't know if a Bruce Brown trade at this in the year of our Lord 2024, 2025. I don't know how much it moves us. Kyle Kuzma, 29. Wow, Kuzma's 29? I know he came into the league as an older rookie. Damn, he's 29 years old, man. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed 27. So, of course, there was a reported at the trade deadline last year that the Mavericks wanted Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma said no. So we do know that there's trade talks surrounding Kuzma all the time. Contractually, not bad at all. 3 years left, about $60 million, $20 million a year averaged out. That's a completely fine contract for a guy like Kyle Kuzma. I think I'd be a little bit surprised if he finished the season with the Wizards. A team that's looking for a forward. I think that could definitely move the needle a little bit for somebody. Now, if the Kings didn't go out and get DeRozan, I mean, that fit just makes so much sense to me. Kuzma in Sacramento. But they have Miami here, and Miami does make a lot of sense as well. Like, they've desperately needed a 4 for so long. And if Bam's going to play the 5, I know that they're toying with the idea of Bam playing the 4, but if Bam is staying at the 5, Kuzma kind of fits really well. Just imagine if the Lakers had kept KCP and Kuzma and re-signed Caruso instead of getting Russ. Yeah. Imagine. Cam Johnson is an interesting one. Cam Johnson, to me, does move the needle for somebody. The Cavs have made sense for Cam Johnson ever since he made it to the Nets. This big shooting 4 who could play the 3, can play alongside Mobley and Allen. They'd have so much size. Jeremy Grant, we've talked about Jeremy Grant a ton. Brandon Ingram. That is just so surprising that Brandon Ingram is still in the Pelicans. I don't know. Where does it make sense for Brandon Ingram to get traded? If we're gonna say the Pelicans get a center, and apparently there was some cat stuff, where does it make sense? Ayton makes some sense to me, but the Blazers have Jeremy Grant, obviously, which shouldn't prevent them from getting Brandon Ingram. Like, they can move off Jeremy Grant. They did just trade for Denny Avdia. And then it's like, who else now? Who's like shopping their centers? Wizards to get Jonas back. There's like $30 million missing there. Clippers, something involving Zubats for Ingram. Zubats is going to be so important in what the Clippers do. If the Clippers actually want to be good, like, he's gonna be so important in what they have going on. Pirtle. I don't like that fit in Toronto with Scotty, RJ, and Brandon Ingram. It's really hard to make something work for BI. I thought that, the moment the DeJounte Murray trade came out, I think everyone collectively was like, okay, there it is. Like, DeJounte Murray for Brandon Ingram, that was a mock trade everybody and their fucking mom made, right? Everybody made that mock trade. It made sense. Was shocked that's not how it played out. Oh, here we go. We have breaking news. Live in the Slightly Biased chat, BK, hearing Gaff isn't as happy as he seems in Dallas, was really close with Derek Jones Jr. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. What does this mean? Daniel Gafford for Brandon Ingram? Who knows? BI to the Lakers for Rui Hachimura. BI to Dallas would make a lot of sense as the third guy. How do you get there contractually? My mom actually said DeJounte for Ingram didn't make much sense. More like Ingram for picks and picks for Trey. Oh, okay. All right, that's an interesting take from your mom. Source, trust me. I kind of feel like when we do all these articles, we talk about the same thing. Yeah, like literally, we are. Am I the only one not worried? Like, not even remotely interested in the Warriors at all this season? I get it because they were such a staple for so long. Like, Steph Curry's the second most popular player in the NBA behind LeBron. I just could. They just don't look like an interesting team at all to me. They just look like a mid-ass team. Their range of outcomes seems so clear. That is really it. Like, they won't be terrible, assuming that they're healthy. They won't be like a terrible team. But I struggle to see a world where they're like great. They'll just be like a playing contending team. BI and picks for Lowry. I'd rather have Markkanen. All right, that's going to do it for me. Playback.tv/slightly biased. Tonight, we will be streaming the Mavericks preseason opener tonight. On playback.tv/slightly biased. And then I'll be on Locked on Mavs after to discuss all of the hard-hitting, groundbreaking, all of the insane things that we discover tonight. And then Wednesday, we will be live. We will be ranking all 30 young cores. Sally, I love you. It's true. I love you too. We'll be ranking all 30, 25 and under, the young cores for each team. Then Friday, best and worst case scenario for each team. Remember, folks, free speech equals freedom. Oh, you're still upset about this. Somebody in here earlier was really upset that I said people who say that weather machines exist should have their speech censored. Partially joking. I'm mainly saying it in the context of there being very, very real, damaging, horrific, catastrophic storms that are hitting not just the United States, but other countries very, very hard. Remember to call out Nick for calling you Isaac tonight on Locked On? What should I call Nick? Huh? I feel like the revenge should be me call Nick something else. It makes sense if I did like other podcasts where I had a host. Call him Tim Cato. The conspiracy theorists have a winning record over the past decade, to be fair. Winning record how? You realize the sheer amount of volume? And this is coming from somebody who, I love the conspiracy. I love conspiracy theories. I love being involved in them. I love hearing them. But they've reached a batshit insane, like they've reached batshit insane levels to the point where it's like not really fun anymore. Call him Reggie. That's good. That's a good one. What's the winning record for conspiracy theories? There's definitely some conspiracy theories that have panned out to be true, for sure. I'm a conspiracy nut. They're batting like .87 for actual validity. Now, the real conspiracy theory that I 100% believe in is that the conspiracy community has 1,000,000% been infiltrated. But that's been the case for decades. That the conspiracy theory community has been infiltrated by, bad actors, by government officials in an effort to make the conspiracy theory community look a little bit more insane, which takes away from real legit conspiracies. That's not even a theory. That's 100% true. Like, we know that's 100% factual. Anyways, that's a good note to leave off on. Thank you all for coming out. All the OGs, you guys, I love you very much. Could spend your Monday afternoon anywhere in the world. You decided to spend it here. New subscribers, I promise you guys not regret it. The NBA season is right around the corner. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's here, right? With preseason basketball. Donations, members, thank you guys so much. You never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. Makes me feel so good. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Again, I will see you all 4 hours from now on playback.tv/slightlybiased to watch the preseason game. That's where you guys really want to get into some conspiracy. Like, you guys really want to get off the deep end. That's where you want to be at, right? Like, here, we try to keep things a little, on schedule. We're only live for a few hours. I'm clipping these and I'm posting clips. We're trying to make content out of this. We're staying a little bit, staying a little bit on track. Yeah, playback streams, we just fucking go off the rails. Okay? So see you all there, and then we'll be live here again on Wednesday. Love you all. Talk to you all later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!